Agribusiness, as it exists today, is the product of the long human journey of transformation, beginning with the cognitive revolution, when Homo sapiens developed the mental capacity to imagine, plan, and cooperate on a large scale, all the way until the current technological revolution. This journey allowed humans to control and reshape nature, a long process of domestication, setting in motion a dynamic of manipulation and exploitation that continues to define our relationship with the environment and society. This critique suggests that agribusiness is not simply a story of progress, but a reflection of humanity's ongoing tension between power and purpose, between our ability to reshape the world around us, and the question of whether doing so actually makes us, or the planet, better off. The cognitive revolution, which began around 70,000 years ago, marked a turning point in human evolution by enabling Homo sapiens to think in complex ways, communicate using sophisticated language, and imagine things that did not physically exist, like myths, gods, and nations. One of its key enablers and results was the mastery of fire. Fire gave early humans control over their environment in unprecedented ways. It allowed them to cook food, making digestion easier and freeing up energy for brain development, keep predators at bay, and survive in colder climates. Fire also symbolized the beginning of humankind's ability to transform nature to meet its needs, a shift that would only intensify over time. With their enhanced cognitive abilities, early humans began to reshape ecosystems more consciously. The ability to plan, cooperate in large groups, and share complex ideas made it possible to hunt more efficiently, outcompete other species, and ultimately domesticate plants and animals. This process of domestication was a long, often violent restructuring of nature for human benefit, turning wild species into dependent, controlled resources. Harari points out that this shift laid the foundation for the agricultural revolution and, later, modern agribusiness. While it allowed humans to dominate the biosphere, it also marked the beginning of mass ecological disruption and the subjugation of other life forms to human interests. The agricultural revolution, which began around 12,000 years ago, transformed human societies from nomadic hunter-gatherers into settled farming communities. By cultivating crops and domesticating animals, humans could produce food surpluses, which allowed populations to grow and settle in one place. These surpluses also enabled social specialization, so that some people could become leaders, priests, artisans, or soldiers rather than food producers. Over time, this led to the rise of complex societies and the first civilizations, complete with hierarchies, centralized governments, organized religions, writing systems, and monumental architecture. However, Harari argues that this shift often came at the cost of individual freedom and well-being, as most people lived harder lives with more labor, disease, and inequality than their foraging ancestors. The foundations laid by the agricultural revolution eventually evolved into the feudal systems of the medieval era. As land became the primary source of wealth and power, control over it became central to political and economic life. In feudal economies, a small elite owned vast tracts of land, worked by peasants or serfs who had little autonomy. This rigid hierarchical system was sustained by agricultural labor and protected by militarized elites, often justified by religious and legal codes. Harari highlights how these developments locked most of humanity into cycles of toil and submission, reinforcing social stratification and limiting the freedoms that earlier, more egalitarian foragers had once enjoyed. The scientific revolution encouraged a new way of thinking, based on observation, experimentation, and the scientific method. This shift in mindset gradually made its way into agriculture, replacing traditional farming practices, often based on superstition or inherited custom, with methods grounded in empirical evidence. Over time, this led to advancements such as crop rotation systems, soil analysis, selective breeding, and pest control. These innovations helped farmers increase yields and reduce losses, laying the foundation for the rational, science-driven approach that now defines modern agribusiness. Harari notes that this mindset represented a profound change. Instead of relying on tradition, people began to believe that systematic knowledge could improve human mastery over nature. The scientific revolution also played a critical role in linking scientific exploration with capitalist expansion and imperial conquest. European empires, motivated by both profit and curiosity, sponsored voyages to discover new lands, plants, and animals. Many of these discoveries, such as cash crops like sugar, cotton, and rubber, became the basis for agricultural exploitation on a global scale. Harari emphasizes how this created a feedback loop. Scientific research enabled economic and military dominance, which funded more research. This fusion set the stage for the global agribusiness model, where science and technology are used to maximize agricultural productivity and profit, often at the expense of indigenous knowledge systems and ecological balance. The Industrial Revolution, beginning in the 18th century, dramatically increased the efficiency and productivity of farms through the introduction of machinery, chemical fertilizers, mechanized irrigation, and new agricultural techniques. Tractors, seed drills, and harvesters reduced the need for manual labor and allowed a small number of workers to manage large areas of land. Scientific advancements improved crop yields and animal breeding, while innovations in transportation and storage connected farms to distant markets. This transformation laid the groundwork for modern agribusiness, turning agriculture into a highly technical, large-scale operation focused on maximizing output, often at the cost of environmental sustainability and traditional farming knowledge. The Industrial Revolution also played a central role in transforming the economy into capitalism, a system based on private ownership, profit motive, and competitive markets. With mass production came new modes of labor, investment, and exchange, replacing traditional, land-based economies with urban, industrial, and financial systems. Wealth shifted from aristocratic landowners to capitalists who owned factories, railroads, and trading companies. Harari emphasizes that this shift encouraged endless growth and consumption, with agriculture increasingly subject to market forces and profit imperatives. As capitalism expanded, food production became less about subsistence and more about efficiency, scalability, and global trade, while integrating farms into a vast economic network driven by supply, demand, and capital investment. The modern technological revolution, driven by biotechnology, synthetic biology, and global data systems, is rapidly transforming what and how we eat. Advances in food processing, genetic engineering, and alternative protein production, such as plant-based meats and lab-grown meat, are reshaping global diets, often in response to concerns about health, climate change, and animal welfare. These innovations promise more sustainable food systems, but they also reflect deeper shifts, a move away from traditional, regional diets, industrially designed, and globally marketed food products. Harari might view this as a continuation of humanity's long-standing effort to redesign nature to fit its desires, while raising critical questions about the long-term consequences for health, culture, and ecological stability. Artificial intelligence, AI, is revolutionizing agribusiness by enabling precision agriculture, using data analytics, sensors, drones, and machine learning to optimize every aspect of farming, from planting and irrigation to pest control and harvesting. AI systems can monitor soil conditions in real time, predict crop yields, automate machinery, and manage supply chains with unprecedented efficiency. This marks a dramatic shift from labor-intensive farming to data-driven, high-tech operations. Harari would like AI as the culmination of a centuries-long trend, the increasing mechanization and control of nature in service of human objectives. While this boosts productivity, it also concentrates power in the hands of tech-driven agribusiness giants, raising concerns about inequality, dependency, and the loss of traditional agricultural knowledge. In light of this historical journey, agribusiness emerges not just as an economic sector, but as a mirror of humanity's evolving relationship with nature, knowledge, and power. From fire to artificial intelligence, each revolution expanded our capacity to control the world, but often at the cost of balance, well-being, and equity. As we stand on the edge of yet another transformation, the challenge is no longer just how to produce more food, but how to do so ethically, sustainably, and in harmony with the living systems that sustain us. We appreciate your time. We hope we connect again soon.